Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. So, sorry, a little bit late today. Had some technical difficulties. Gotta love those. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to properly do planks and some of those common mistakes and some of the reasons why we should actually be doing those in the first place and why everybody should be doing as many planks as possible. But as always, before we jump in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is click that little logo that's right below me right there. It's a little C, a A, and a F. And subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn those notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest and greatest content here on the channel. Okay? So, as always, I like to dive right in. What was that? A 55-second intro? I love it. I love it. All right. So, let's go ahead and dive right in, and let's talk about some of the benefits real quick and of doing planks, right? Like, so I know a lot of folks hear about planks and, oh, we should do planks, planks, and more planks, right? So why is that? Why should we continue to focus on those planks, right? So one of the benefits of doing planks regularly would be that they do help protect your back, right? And low back pain, back injuries, injuries to your lower back are some of the more common reasons why people miss work, why they generally just have discomfort throughout the day, and why they end up in the hospital, right? So back injuries, low back pain, very debilitating, very common, right? So one of the things that helps protect your back is a strong core. And by core, we do talk about our hips, our back, and our abs as well. A lot of times when we say core, we just think of our abs. But no, it's kind of like a circle around our entire abdomen area, right? So our core needs to be strong to protect the spine when doing things that could cause back pain, like we just talked about. Obviously, if we're doing lifting, if we do it improperly, right? If you make a mistake, hey, the stronger your core is, the stronger your abs, your hips are, the less likely you'll be suffering injury. And if you do, the faster your recovery can be, right? So things like that, right? Also helps prevent exercise-related injuries. So if you're doing any squatting, right? If you're deadlifting, right? If you're doing overhead presses, all these different things, just about every exercise, I say just about, but yes, pretty much every exercise that you're ever going to do in the gym or the fitness club, you're going to be using your back, you're going to be using your hips and your back, right? So you're going to need your spine to be straight and balanced and strong when you're doing these types of exercises. And one of the things planking does is help provide you with core strength to be able to brace and support your body during these movements, right? It also helps with posture, okay? And this has become a bigger and bigger and bigger problem, right? And one of the reasons, because lots of us do work regularly where we're using the computer, and we have that natural just hunch motion that goes with our posture, right? And also nowadays, many people spend lots of time on these things, right? Those cell phones, right? So we're also looking down all the time, which can make our posture worse, right? So key thing to remember is here, just because you plank, that's not going to be the only thing that you're going to need to improve your posture. There's other types of exercises, working your upper back, regular stretching, things of that nature. But hey, it's going to be something that's not going to hurt. It's going to add to your posture, okay? So think about this. When you're sitting throughout the day, sometimes you may want to tighten your abs. You may want to kind of sit yourself up. Whenever I'm doing these streams, I notice myself always adjusting my posture, just because it's always in the forefront of my mind, and I'm always thinking about it. So, short list here, right? There's other things that we could talk about. Building up your ab stability. We could talk about the fact that it's just general good exercise. But I really like these three benefits. As you can see, this was a list of 5, right? But I really wanted to focus on these 3 that I found here because these are really important. Okay, so again, we're talking about protecting your back, reducing the risk of injury, because the more stability and support you have when you're doing any type of exercise, the less likely you'll be hurt, and also improving your overall posture. Okay, so how do you do a plank, right? So this was something interesting when I started Googling to figure out how to get to how you actually do a plank. I found myself seeing lots of different instructions, right? So if we look here, it says select a position where you can extend your whole body length. Using an exercise mat, I guess. So it says begin in the plank position. Now, I don't necessarily like the fact that we're starting out with saying begin in the plank position because we're trying to get to the plank, right? But anyway, face down with your forearms and toes on the floor, elbows directly under your shoulders, your forearms, and then it goes to number 2, right? Draw your navel in towards your spine, keep your neutral spine, all these different things, right? These are all a bunch of terms that you've probably heard at the fitness club, and you're like, what the heck is the instructor talking about, right? Um, you know, for somebody like myself, yeah, I get it, right? Drawing your navel towards your spine, keep your torso straight and rigid, all these good things, no sagging, bending. I understand it. But for the folks that's at the gym, they're just trying to figure out, or if you're doing an exercise video, all these different things, I personally get tired of hearing it, and I get tired of saying it because I'm like, they don't know what I'm talking about anyway, right? If you look here, another one. What happened? Oh, how to do planks. Okay, place your hands directly under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide. Well, how wide, right? Press through your shoulders and dome your upper back to protect your shoulder sockets and strengthen your chest muscles. What? Micro bend your elbows. What does micro bend your elbows mean, right? Lengthen your spine. How? I'm pretty sure my spine is going to be the same length always, right? So the reason why I brought these up, and these are, let me be clear, I'm not trying to bash these instructions. These are not bad instructions. The problem with it is that they can become confusing, right? They can become confusing, and the folks that are actually trying to figure out how to do squats may have some trouble following along with those instructions. So before we wrap up, I'm going to go ahead and give you like my quick little tutorial on squats. But before I did that, I wanted to go through some mistakes, right? And I think it's possible that the confusion associated with instructions can lead to some of these common mistakes, right? So, there we go. So some common mistakes that you'll notice when you're doing squats, right? These are some things that I see all the time, seen them 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, whatever that number is. Collapsing your lower back. I'm going to show you an image because this is a big one. I'm only going to show you 2 images of some really bad planks because some of the other ones you kind of just have to feel out for yourself, all right? But collapsing your lower back, this is a big one, right? Like it says right here. So this is basically when you kind of drop your hips down, and I'm going to show you an image in just a second. You're dropping your hips down a little bit, and you're putting a little bit too much pressure on your lower back, and that's a big one, okay? This is another one. This is literally, these 2 are the ones that I'm going to definitely show you images on because these are the 2 most common mistakes. Collapsing your lower back, where you basically sink your hips down into the floor, and also pushing your butt always in the air. Whenever I've taught a class, I've always said keep those butts pointing away from the ceiling, right? Because people always want to put their butts in the air. I'm like, no butts in the air, right? But also dropping your head. If you see here, I'm just kind of dropping my head, right? And that's another big no-no, all right? You always want to keep straight lines when you're doing a plank. And for whatever reason, folks forget to breathe, okay? So you got to remember that even though it doesn't necessarily maybe seem like an exercise where there's a lot of motion, yeah, you're still exercising, you're still working your muscles. Make sure you breathe. Try not to focus on time unless you're timing yourself, right? But if you're just doing your plank, try to focus on your form and technique. One of the things I like to do when I plank is I just go until I can't go anymore, right? Not keeping a tight core. Another common mistake where we tend to loosen our hips and our back. Our hips and our abs, and it causes our posture to be off just a little bit, right? And then this one's pretty common as well when we kind of have this rounding of shoulders. You kind of want to keep everything nice and tight and straight up top as well. But again, these are all common mistakes that we'll see when we're doing planks, okay? And before I go into some imagery, I did want to kind of just real quick go over some of the variations. I did this the other day when I did a how-to on squats, which, by the way, if you want to check out my how-to on squats, I put a link to that video in the description of this video. There's also a video on how to properly warm up. I also put that link in the description of this video as well. So you can check both of those out. But I'm not going to run through all of these, but this is just kind of to show the fact that there are so many levels to this exercise that so many people talk about and so many people preach about, right? So you have planks for beginners. Like if you're somebody who's just starting out, it's a good one to kind of start out the plank position where you can get in that nice straight line and you're just on your knees, right? You can do that same plank, but also on your palms with straight arms, right? You have your regular forearm plank where you're on your toes and your forearms. Your straight arm plank where you're on your toes and your forearms. Okay. Then you have some other ones. As we start to advance, we can go up down with our plank. We can do our side planks. We can do our walking planks. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's a lot of variations of planks. There's a bunch of different ways, and this isn't even a full list. If we really wanted to get into the full list of planks, that list would be extensive. All right. Now, real quick, before I wrap up, pretty quick one today, okay? But before I wrap up, did want to show you a couple of these images, right? So this is what we're talking about, collapsing the lower back. When we went to the 7 common mistakes, collapsing your lower back. That's what we're talking about right here. All right. So you don't want a curve when you're working your plank, and this happens whether you're on your palms or your elbows. Seen it no matter what. So again, this puts extra pressure in this area, this region on your lower back. Now we're also overstressing our shoulders and our upper body, and we're not balanced. Okay, so this is definitely not what you want to see when you're doing a plank. So if you feel your hips sinking, if you feel your booty dripping and your thighs getting closer to the ground, you're going to want to shoot those hips up and try to get yourself back into that straight line, right? And here's the other one. The other mistake that we saw was pushing your bum, your bottom, your booty to the ceiling, right? So very common, right? When folks are fatigued or when they don't possess proper strength, this is literally the first place they go. They just stick the butt straight up in the air. So again, when I'm coaching a class, I'm always saying no butts in the air. Okay. Reason being, we're going to stress our shoulders. We're going to overstretch our hamstrings here, and then also we're not getting the benefits that are meant from doing the exercise in the first place. So if you find yourself going straight to this. You find yourself going straight to this form when you're doing a plank. One of the best things you can do is go to this plank on your knees. Where is it? Right there. Plank on your knees. Keep your same plank form, but just stay on your knees and build up your strength to ultimately where you'll be able to get into a situation where you're doing a regular plank. So again, we don't want to have our hips collapsed, and we don't want to have our butt sticking up to the sky, right? So a couple of good forms, as you can see clearly in this image right here. What do I always talk about whenever I do a video when we're talking about lifting or technique or form or reducing injury risk? We talk about straight lines, right? So as you can see, there's straight lines all over this image, right? If we're talking about the way her forearms hit the floor, if we're talking about the way her biceps and triceps line up, if we're talking about her neck, her spine, all the way down to her toes. Literally, the only place there's a bend is in the toes, and that's natural because we have to support our body with our toes and our forearms. So this is a beautiful plank, and the easy way to do this one with modified or alternate version would be literally to start out in this position and drop your knees straight down and keep your body in this straight position if you were working a plank on your knees. All right. As we see in this image as well, now we're doing the version where we're doing a plank on our palms and we have our arms fully extended. You can see same scenario. Even with the base support here with our palms, we have nice straight lines here. Our arms are in a straight line. Neck is in a straight line. And you should be looking down. You shouldn't be looking up. And as we work this now, even though we're working at an angle, we're still working a straight line in that body position. Feet, straight line. And again, the only bend is really right here in our toes, which is just to support the body. So again, if we compare the two, right? If we go back and forth, we can clearly see here there's a curve, which is what we don't want. And again, if we go here for the straight line, we can clearly see the differences, right? So again, real quick, just to wrap up, and we'll see if we got any Q&A today, but main benefits of doing planks is helping to protect your back, helping to, because now we're building more strength and stability in our core, all right? If we are doing squatting or heavy lifting, any type of exercise, the more we're able to keep our spine straight, the more we're able to support our body with our core, the less likely we're going to get injured, and also helping with our posture. Okay, we talked about the fact that we don't want to get confused with instructions, so be wary. The simplest way to say how to do an exercise is to keep your body in a straight line, keep your head down, no butt in the air, and no hip sink. That's the easiest way I like to describe how to do a plank. So be wary of all the instructions. The more you plank, the more comfortable you'll get. And again, keep images like this in mind. Keep images like this in mind. Straight lines, and make sure you're keeping energy tight in these areas here. And if you start to feel your hips start to sag, you know you got to stick them up. If you start to feel your hips go up, you know you got to bring them down. If that happens, just drop down to your knees. It's nothing wrong with doing a plank on your knees. You're still going to get the benefits, and it's going to make it easier to plank on your toes, right? We talked about common mistakes, kind of just reviewed those again. We also mentioned how many different variations of planks there are. So there's plenty. So as you get better at planking, you can add variations to your routine, okay? So look, that's all I got today. Main things on how to do planks. Again, you can check out my how-tos on how to do squats and also how to properly do warm-ups. Let's see if we got any Q&A. Today, I always like to end with Q&A. Doesn't matter if it's about this topic that we're talking about today, or if it's about anything else. You know me, I always check. No, it's quiet out there today. Quiet out there today. Okay. Well, keep in mind that we're always doing these streams Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. I always start on time. If I don't start on time, it's probably because there's some type of technical difficulty. But a little bit late today, but normally 6 p.m. Central Time, Mondays and Wednesdays, and then also Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Time as well. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fitness Charles. You can figure out how you can sign up for my 3 times a burn challenge for free on fitnesscharles.com. And also stay tuned. We're getting ready to start holding a raffle for some lucky winners who are going to win my entire 12-week, that's 90 days, transformation program, my Fit Forever family program. We're going to get ready to start doing some raffles for that real soon, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Launch date, I'm planning on getting this ready June 1st. As I look at the calendar, I don't know. We'll see. All right. But again, stay tuned for that. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all next time. Be happy, be healthy, have a wonderful day. See y'all Wednesday.